Stereoscopic 3D gaming is one of the ways that you can really take advantage of the extra horsepower available in GPUs, even with games where you can already max the resolution, you can already max the details, and they're already running okay. Because what Stereo 3D effectively has to do, especially for games that are not very well optimized, for example, you're going to see Crysis 3 is incredibly well optimized for Stereo 3D on the GeForce GTX Titan. So what it effectively has to do is render the image from two different sides for each eye, and then it works with the NVIDIA driver to only show you one eye at a time with the shutter glasses that make the whole 3D effect work. So I wanted to take Titan and test it against the other solutions that make sense for 3D. So unfortunately, I haven't actually tested any AMD cards because the last time I took a run at Stereo 3D with the Radeon solution with DDD, the 3D sort of third-party firmware, it was not a very intuitive setup compared to 3D Vision, so I instead stuck with my GeForce setup. So I've got the GeForce GTX Titan, which is the new card launching today. I compare it against the old flagship, the GeForce GTX 680, although it should be noted the GeForce GTX 680 isn't really making its way down the stack. It's not like the Titan is coming in and replacing it at the same price point. Titan is significantly more expensive than a GTX 680, so it's still kind of a flagship, but then Titan's like a super flagship or something like that. And then finally, my sort of, my bang for the buck solution, which is two GTX 660 Ti's in SLI. So without further ado, here are my 3D Vision benchmarks. Let's start with the one I alluded to before. So Crysis 3 at 1080p in 3D Vision Surround actually only runs about 10% slower in 3D Vision than it does just at 1080p on the GeForce GTX Titan. Now with that said, the GeForce GTX 660 Ti SLI solution actually outperforms the Titan in this particular game in 3D Vision by about 3% or 4% or something along those lines. But we do still see a clear separation of the Titan from the previous generation ruler of the roost in Crysis 3. Moving along to Skyrim, I believe the mods that we've installed kind of messed it up. So again, you can look at these results, but they're completely meaningless because we installed a bunch of mods that probably broke 3D in a very big way. So for example, the shadows, which are sometimes a problem with 3D, even without modding the game, were definitely an issue for us. Battlefield 3, however, did quite well in 3D. So you can see Titan and GTX 660 Ti SLI are neck and neck with the GTX 680 trailing behind. So both of those other solutions perform about 40% better than the 680. So it's starting to show it's not king of the castle-ness. The Witcher 2 performs better with GTX 660 Ti SLI than GTX Titan. I think part of this is due to the fact that Stereo 3D is more about horsepower and less about necessarily the frame buffer, which is what GTX Titan actually has in a big way over any of the other solutions. If we were to run 3D at a higher resolution, hypothetically, because right now we don't have any solutions that are above 1080p Stereo 3D, then I think that Titan would start to just absolutely demolish the other cards. But right now we don't really see that, so it looks like something like dual 660 Ti 2 gigs or even 3 gigs in SLI looks like the ultimate solution for 3D. Well, not quite ultimate. I mean, you could throw a couple Titans at it and that would be more ultimate. But in terms of at $1,000 or less, something like a couple 660s or a couple 670s, 660 Ti's rather, would be a great solution. Thanks for checking out my 3D Vision benchmark video of the GTX Titan. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.